Hello friends, welcome to Code Crush Coding. In this video we are going to learn how to define a common property to all the objects of a class. Let's consider a situation where you need a property which should be common or same to all the objects of that particular class. So let's have a practical implementation for the same. So let's create one class. So we know how to create a class with the help of class keyword and then the name of the class. Let's say employee is the name of class. Employee is the name of class here. So once we have class employee, then what we will do, we will create the instance variable inside that class. So we know instance variables are declared inside the constructor. So let's declare a constructor, and it means the instance variables depends on the objects, means different type of objects will have different values for the instance variables. And here what we will do, we will have the attributes here. So let's have attribute as name of the employee, then the age of the employee. So these two properties are common here. And after that we will have another attribute here, let's say company, for which the employee is working. So these are the three attributes here. Now how to initialize these attributes? With the help of self keyword, self dot name is equal to name. After that we will say self dot age is equal to age, and then we will say self dot company is equal to company. Now this is our template of the class, and inside that we have one constructor and the three attributes. So let's declare the object here. Let's say employee1, emp1, which stands for employee1, and then we need to provide the name of class, which is employee. And here, as we are expecting three parameters to be passed here, if you don't pass any parameters here, so it will generate an error. So you need to pass the three attributes here. Let's say name of the employee is John. Let's provide the name as John. Then we will say age as 25. Let's provide, as it is a numeric value, you don't need to pass it inside the inverted commas. And after that company, let's say company is ABC. As we are providing the objects here, now what we will do, we will try to print those values here. So we will print here, print emp1, which is the object dot name. Then we will print emp1 age, and then we will print the company, emp1 dot company. Now let's save this code and run now. So if you run this, you are getting the values John 25 ABC, which is the values of employee1 object, as these values are passed here and these are assigned to these instance variables. So if you create the another class here, or the another object, sorry, not class, then what we will do, we will say here employee2. Again same thing we need to do with the class, and then we need to pass these three attributes. Let's say name of the employee here is Mark, and then we will have its age, let's say 26, and then again the company, as the company will be same because all the employees will be working for that particular one company here. And after that we will print the details of that particular employee too. Let me copy this statement, paste it here. Then we will print here employee2 dot name, then employee2 dot age, then employee2 dot company. Now let's run this code. Now see, we are getting the values of object 2, as these three variables are same, which is name, age and company, but they are differing, or they have the different values as per the object, means they are at the object level. As per the object values, these values are getting changed here. But as we can see, the company's value will always be ABC here. So what we can do, instead of making it as an instance attribute, we can make this particular company as a class attribute. Instead of declaring this particular company inside this constructor, what we can do, we can make it as a class attribute. So what is class attribute? So class attribute is anything which is declared inside the class, means not inside the constructor here but inside the class. So here we will print company, and we will, let me correct the spelling here, company, and then we will say here ABC. Now this particular variable is at class level, means it will not be changed for a particular object, but it will be common for all the objects that are creating from this class employee. So all the objects which are getting created from this class employee will have the value of company as ABC. Now we have declared it as a class attribute, not a instance attribute, because instance attributes are differing as per the values passed for each object. Now what we can do, we can directly access it here. Let's say now here we have the company that we are accessing, emp1.company, but we are not passing the value of company now here. Let's remove it because we are only expecting two values now, name and age. So let me remove this particular values. Let's save it and run now. So see, still we are getting the same output. Why we are getting the same output? Because in the print message we have emp1.company, and here from the company you can directly access the value ABC, because it is a class attribute. It will not be different for all the other objects. It will be same for all the objects that are getting created from employee class. Now if the company name is changed to, let's say, ABCQ is the new name of the company now, and if you change this particular value here, it will be reflected in the objects also. Now see, here we can see ABCQ is the new name of the company here. So in this way you can make use of the class attributes. Another use of class attribute is like to count the number of objects created from that particular class. Let's say we have another, let me rename the value as ABC only, and after that we will have another class attribute which will be count. Let's say count, and count initially will be 0. So this is the value at the class level, right? Now what we will do, we will increment this count whenever the object is created, and we know when the object is created the constructor is called. Let me show you that also. Let me create a new file here. Let's create a new file, demo, and let's create a sample class here, class test. Let's declare a constructor here, def init, and let's print a message here only, print constructor called, and now we will create the object here. Let's create obj1 equals to test, and just run this code now, demo.python file. If you run this code, so you will see a message is getting printed. We haven't called the constructor here, but whenever the object is created, by default the constructor is called. If I create another object here, object2, then also the constructor will be called. If you see here, if I run this code, then 2 times we are getting this message. First time when object1 was called, and second time when object2 is called. In similar way here, when we want to count the number of objects, each time if you create the employee1 object, then this constructor will be called, right? So in the constructor we will increment the value of count here. So how to access this particular count here? Because instance attributes name and age can be accessed with the help of self keyword, but how to access this class attribute? So class attribute can be accessed with the help of class name. So class name is employee here, so we will say employee dot. So here you can see we are getting the count here, employee dot count is equal to, we can directly say here, plus equals to 1, means we will increment the count by 1 each time when the object is called. And now what we have created the 2 objects here. After that we will print the message, print, and then we will say count, and we can directly access with the help of class name here, employee dot count. Now let's run this code. So see, as we are creating the 2 classes, we are getting the value of count as 2. What does this mean actually? So when the first object is called, then at that time the value of count is incremented by 1. So it is not 0 now, it will be incremented to 1. After that another object is created. So we have the value of count 1, then it is again increased by 1, so the count is 2 now. It means that when the value of this particular class attribute is changed by one particular object, the another objects will get the updated values, not the original values. That's the difference between the instance attribute and class attribute. In the instance attribute, each time you are getting the different values, like first time it was 25 for the age, let's say, and for the second time it becomes 26 when you are changing it. But in class attributes, you don't, if you change for a one particular object, you will get the updated in the another object. Now if I try to create the third object here, let's say create the third object, employee 3, and let's say same values we will pass, mark and 26. And if you try to check the employee count, now it will be 3 now, because last time it was 2. Now once we create the object here, again the constructor will call, again the count will be incremented by 1, and we will get the value of count 3. And another thing to remember here is class attributes are called with the help of class name, not with the help of object name. As these are instance attributes, they are called with the help of object name. Count is a class attribute, it is called with the help of class name. Now let's save this and run now. So see, we are getting here the count as 3. So that is the use of class attributes. When you want to mark any particular property to be common for all the objects, that you can go with class attribute. Also when you want to check how many objects are created, that you can do with the help of class attribute. So that's it in this video. We will cover another topics of object oriented programming in next video. Thank you for watching.